Hi guys and welcome to Fandom Newbie. My name is Shruti and today's video is a really fun one because I'm going to be reading the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I've already read the first book but I haven't read the rest of the series and I'm so excited to dive back into this world. So I thought I'd vlog it and I'll take you guys along with me with my reactions, my thoughts of this entire series. I know a lot of you have been wanting me to finish this series, so I'm finally doing it and I'm really excited. So let's get started. Okay, so I started this vlog by skim reading the first book again. It's one of my favorite books that I have ever read. And basically, this follows our main character Pip as she is trying to solve the murder of Andy Bell. Now, Andy Bell was supposed to have been murdered by her boyfriend Sal, but Pip doesn't believe that, and so she's investigating this old case along with Sal's brother Ravi to try to figure out exactly what happened. My memory is really bad when it comes to books. Like, I can remember the major things that happen in a book that I really love, but like small things I tend to forget. And so, skimming through this, I realized that there were a few plot twists that I have like completely forgotten, as well as just like nuances about Pip's character and Ravi's character as well, like their dynamic. I remember that I really liked it the first time I read it, but like just refreshing my memory has been really nice. And yeah, like even skim reading this, I am remembering why I loved it so much the first time. And yeah, it's making me excited to read the rest of the series. One of the main reasons I love this book so much is the way that it's structured. So, along with the main like narrative that's going on, there are also snippets of police interviews that Pip is conducting along her way, as well as her production logs. And these production logs, I feel like, are so amazing because they kind of recap Pip's thoughts as she's going through the investigation. And so it's a great place to sort of look for clues. It's a great place to sort of recap what's happening in the case and for you to also then form your own suspects along with Pip. It's just a really good narrative structure and I love that about this book. Also, I realized how much I love Pip's character. Like, she is so enthusiastic, sometimes extremely reckless, but also just incredibly smart. And I love her character, and I realized how much I loved her character when I read it the first time as well. And her dynamic with Ravi is also just so adorable. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how their dynamic evolves over the next two books because I love them so much. And yeah, I'm hoping that the other two books are also structured in the same way because I loved this sort of mixed media ness of this book. And basically, what I'm saying is that it's got me hyped. I cannot wait to read the next two books, and so that is what I'm gonna do. The second book follows another case, and this time it's a missing persons case. So, Pip's friend Connor, his brother Jamie has gone missing, and it's up to Pip to try to find out exactly what happened to him. So this book picks up just after the events of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I like when sequels do that. Like, this book is a month after A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it's nice because we're seeing a few characters whose storylines were left kind of not exactly a cliffhanger, but like we didn't really know what happened to them in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. We're going to get those answers in this book, and I'm liking that. You guys, I have literally been in the same position for hours. I am sitting in my bed and I cannot stop reading this book. Now, there are a lot of things about this book which are similar, but there are a few things which are different. This book still has the same sort of mixed media writing style, which I am loving so much. It's so good. But Pip's character has definitely evolved in this book. She's not as reckless and like gung ho like how she was in the first book. She's a bit more cautious. She understands the the broader implications of what she's doing, how it affects other people's lives, like carrying out these investigations in her town, how it affects other people. She's understanding that. She's also, I think, developing a bit of like anger towards people because the police don't believe her. There's also a trial that's going on with one of the characters, and how that's sort of affecting her. Like a lot of things are affecting her, and there's definitely a bit of an evolution towards Pip's character from where she was in book one to how she is now, and that's interesting. Like I want to see how that develops as well. This book is getting so good, but I need a coffee break. So, I have just finished reading chapter 28 in the book, and something has happened that is so infuriating. Like, I am so angry right now. I do not like what has happened. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. Chapter 28, just no. I don't like it. I don't like what's happened. But we must move on. I still need to know what happens. I still need to know where this is all headed. I just can't stop reading this book. Okay, so I finished reading Good Girl, Bad Blood, and oh my god, you guys, this book is just one of those compulsive reads that you cannot put down. I spent the entire day reading this book. Like I had to know what happens next. Holly Jackson's writing is like that, which just sucks you in and you just have to keep reading. This book was insane. The ending of this book is just something that I could not have imagined. Like it was plot twist after plot twist, and yeah, like what happens to Pip at the end, I honestly don't know what's going to happen in book 3. Like, how much more can happen to this poor girl, and how much more can happen in this town that already hasn't happened? Like, it's insane. I really want to know what happens to all of these characters in book 3, because just like how much more can Holly Jackson put them through? I don't know. Um, right now, I feel like I liked the first book just like a tad bit better than this one. Like that was a 5 out of 5 stars. This is maybe like 4.75 out of 5 stars. Just like if I have to sort of rank them, book 1 is still like it has a special place in my heart, but this one is also incredible. Now on to book 3. Like what else can happen? What else can happen? I'm scared. I'm scared to find out. In the last book of this series, the victim is Pip herself. Basically, Pip has a stalker, and this stalker actually might have ties to a really notorious serial killer. And so now Pip has to solve the investigation to essentially save herself. So I'm on page 220 something of As Good as Dead, and this book is just so different as compared to the first 2 books. Like the tone in this book is so different. Firstly, it's just so much darker than the first 2 books, and rightly so, because the things that Pip went through in the first 2 books was so insane and crazy. Like it's obvious that she would be a changed person in this book, but she's experiencing like massive PTSD, and that is captured so well in this book. The way that Holly Jackson has written Pip's PTSD, like it's palpable. I can feel it, and it's giving me so much anxiety to read. It's so strange. Like I can feel my heartbeat sort of like increasing whenever I'm reading Pip's thoughts because they're written so well. And yeah, also tone in this book is much, much darker. The other really interesting thing about this book is how all of the mysteries in the first two books seem to be connected to the mystery in this one. Like it's all coming full circle, and I just think that that's really genius the way that Holly Jackson has done it. However, I've come to a point in this book where I feel like I've already guessed who the main like killer is. Like I've already guessed who it is, and I think I'm like mostly right. So that's interesting. If I end up being right, like yeah, that's not happened in the series so far. Like I haven't been able to guess the ending in any of these books, but in this one, I feel like I already know who it is. So I'm interested to see how this goes because, like, if that's the person who is the killer, then it's not very surprising. So, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's see. So, I'm in the middle of the book right now, and the killer has already been revealed. And I was right. I guessed correctly. I knew exactly who the killer was. But I'm in the middle of the book. What's gonna happen for the rest of the book if we already know who the killer is and I'm only on page 250 something? Like, this book is more than 500 pages long. What the hell is going to happen? I just got my answer to what the hell is going to happen for the rest of this book. And just what? What? Seriously? I need to process this. Like, what? Okay, so I just finished reading As Good as Dead. I have such mixed feelings about this book. All right, so it's the next day, and I have taken time to process this entire book because, oh my god, did a lot of things happen in this book. Like, yeah, I think this is my least favorite book out of the trilogy. And the reason behind that is just Pip's character takes such a complete like 180-degree change in this book. Like she just goes, I don't even know. Like I don't even know how to describe it without spoilers. Just like her character changes so much in this book, and one of the reasons why I love this series is Pip's character. Like I really adored her in the first book. In the second book, also like it was obvious this is where her character arc was going to go. But this, where she goes in this book, it was a bit of a stretch. It was a bit of a leap. And like everything that happens in the second half of the book, I feel is just very convenient. A lot of it just felt too convenient, too like contrived. And yeah, just like Pip's character in the end, I feel she just, yeah, like I didn't like where her character went. Maybe it made sense, but I didn't like it. I didn't like where this book takes all of our characters. But having said that, I did like how what I mentioned earlier, all the mysteries sort of come full circle in this book, and the way that each book is connected to each other. I feel like Holly Jackson has done a brilliant job with that. The writing is amazing. It is a very compulsive read, like the other two. You're going to want to read to like see what happens next. It's very, very like yeah, it makes you want to find out what is going to happen, and so you will just like it's that perfect binge read, like how the other two books are as well. It's just yeah, the second part two in this book is just like not what I expected, and I did really like it. So, in the end, do I recommend A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the entire series, to all of you 100% yes. Read the series. It is super duper binge worthy. Every mystery is amazing. The ending was a bit disappointing for me, but I know that a lot of people have absolutely loved it. So, overall, this series is like easily 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. Absolutely love it. Amazing writing, amazing characters. Pip and Ravi have my whole heart. I absolutely love them. They are like couple goals, amazing characters, and yeah, very, very compulsive reads, binge reads, amazing mysteries with so many plot twists. So, highly recommend the series if you haven't already read it. And with that, this is the end of my vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below letting me know if you read these books. What did you think about them? Give me some more mystery book recommendations. I always love reading good thrillers. And of course, do subscribe to my channel for more book related videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.